In this video, we're in the Windward Isles in the Caribbean, which is supposed to be some of the finest island-hopping, line-of-sight sailing in the world. We've given ourselves 1 week to get down from St. Lucia all the way to Grenada. Hello good people, we have left Rodney Bay in St. Lucia and we are currently sailing down the west coast of St. Lucia, and we are heading south towards the Pitons, which are just around this corner here. And absolutely gorgeous day. Fair amount of rain, but then a fair amount of blue. St. Lucia's looking beautiful and green. And when we've spent some time down here around the Pitons, we're going to head south again and head out actually to St. Vincent and the Grenadines next. I am sailing this week with my very good friend Bruno, who is here to keep me safe and to keep me sane. I can see clearly now, the rain's gone. What's going on here? There's an entire line of boats like ducklings. Most weird. They're flying, at least that one over there, which is probably hard to see in this view, and the one ahead of it, flying World Arc flags. So I guess there's something to do with the World Arc Rally. But it's just, I don't think I've ever seen so many sailboats on a line before, like that. Well, look at this view. What an awesome anchorage. So that's Petit Piton, and we're on a mooring ball with a line of other boats. And this is the town of Soufrière down here, where we'll go and get some dinner later and check out through customs immigration tomorrow. You all right with that setup? Before we head into Soufrière, we send Bruno over the side to examine how truly awful the growth on the bottom of the boat has got since we first arrived in St. Lucia. And then we find an amazing guy who can swim, hold his breath for minutes under the boat, who scrubs the whole thing for us. And it turns out to be squeakingly clean when he finishes, and we are so much faster. And after that, we head into town. We left Soufrière early this morning, having checked out of St. Lucia. So behind us, out that way somewhere, behind Bruno, is our last view of St. Lucia. And ahead of us, up here, is our first view of St. Vincent. And we're going to go down the side of St. Vincent this way. And we're probably not going to stop at St. Vincent because we do need to check into St. Vincent when we get there. And it looks like the customs and immigration isn't open today, Monday, or tomorrow, Tuesday, or at least not at any time that works for us. So we're going to cruise on down the side of St. Vincent, enjoy the view, and see if we can check in at Bequia this evening instead. Currently doing about seven and a bit knots in 15 knots of wind. Sun's beating down, it's not raining. More could you want? Halfway between the islands, out here is this rather gorgeous looking thing in the distance, a 200-foot sailboat making its way up towards St. Lucia. Here's a nice chunky clump of sargassum. There we go. Now got our St. Vincent and Grenadines flag up next to our yellow Q flag until we clear customs. It's far too hard to see, but way back there, still just make out the faint outline of the pitons on St. Lucia. We've just passed the top end of St. Vincent, and here is the volcano which last erupted in 2021 and led to lots of evacuations from the top end of St. Vincent. And we are heading down the coast of St. Vincent and round to the next island along, which will be Bequia. We've had extraordinarily good wind to get to here, but in the shadow of St. Vincent the wind has died, but we expect we'll pick it up in an hour or so. We debated whether going round on the windward side of the island would be better, but it's kind of nice. The rain is coming, first rain of the day. We're currently running into a bit of a headwind until we clear the bottom end of St. Vincent. But up to this point it's been absolutely glorious, so I'm really not complaining. Approaching Bequia. Here we are in Bequia. We've cleared in. We've gone through customs and immigration, so we're now free to roam St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Out there we've left Bequia behind us, and we're now heading south towards Tobago Cays, and I think we're probably going to stop somewhere short of the Cays, so we're just trying to work out what looks like a good anchorage, and then we'll spend the night there and try and get over to the Cays tomorrow early and see if we can get a spot and do some snorkeling. Very calm day. There's not really much more than 8 or 9 knots of wind. We're doing 4 or 5 knots. Got all the sail up. Absolutely gorgeous. No rain at all today so far. Here we are, arrived, anchored in Canouan, and beautiful evening. Bruno and I are just trying to disassemble the prop off the outboard engine because we fear the pin inside it is probably sheared. It made us go terribly slowly when we were trying to leave earlier. So that's what we're doing now.
Ta-da! Do I just unscrew this now?
Wait, read instructions.
One broken pin.
Just turn it. Right.
Why the propeller wasn't spinning because it wasn't attached anymore.
Let's try and recreate a pin. We're missing a new pin, but we've sacrificed this poor noble screwdriver, and we're just going to cut a pin out of it because fortunately it's just the right diameter. Success! We're off to the races again. Just waking up this morning here in Canouan. Gorgeous day. Good morning, here we are, leaving last night's anchorage, which was really quite nice. Not as rolly as the last couple of nights, so I slept better, which is good. And we're heading out now. This way, I'm going to turn to port and head on down towards Tobago Cays so that we can hopefully pick up a mooring ball there and spend some time snorkeling on the reef. Tough life, eh? Good morning, Bruno.
Good morning, Simon.
Passing out from Canouan at the moment. There's an airstrip here with a couple of private jets on it, and behind here there's a marina which has quite a good reputation for boats large and small, but just seems a strange deserted kind of spot to find this. And on the headland here there is a giant sign which is an ad for the hotel, the marina, the restaurants and the shops. There's not going to be a lot of customers for that hotel, are there?
No.
Entrance to the giant marina there. Looks very nice. Here we go, a couple of miles away, off to port now. The islands around Tobago Cays. And we're going to be turning to port in a minute, just as soon as we're clear of the smaller rocky reef bits that are off to our port now, about a mile off, and then we'll head in and see if we can find somewhere to moor up. Bruno is navigating us around the reefs.
Hi.
Yes, you are.
Okay.
Well, here we are, moored up in the Tobago Cays, quite close to the boat in front of us, but a lovely Dutchman there doesn't seem too concerned. Bruno has gone out here somewhere, snorkeling, so I hope he comes back. Very popular spot, quite a few boats in here. Let's see if I can kind of explain what's going on. So there's a couple of islands behind us, 2 or 3 islands behind us, and we're in an anchorage here out towards the edge of the reef. So this is Horseshoe Reef here, and out there is Petit Tabac, which we might visit later. But the first part of the reef that we can see is this little bit in front of us here. Hurricane Beryl did a lot of damage to the reef, so I've seen some people saying it's not quite as beautiful at the moment as it has been, but hopefully slowly getting back to life. This is it, chaps, we're going in.
And easy coming up. Yay! And he's come up. It's very nice down there. Very pleasant water, isn't it?
Oh, it's lovely. It's a lot cooler in here than it is up there.
It's...
I might just have to stay in here to stay alive. Right.
Have a
See you later.
nice swim.
I'm leaving.
Look out for the turtles. Say
Had
hello to
enough.
them for me.
Aha!
Now that we'd properly cooled off, it was time to head inshore and see what the nearby island had to offer.
Good morning, another beautiful day here out on the Cays, but now we're going to slip the lines and head on south. So we're going to head out that way, round the back of that big island there, and then south towards Union Island, where we're going to check out of St Vincent to the Grenadines, and then also see if we can check in to Grenada in the same day. We're going to go round the back of that island over there, Myro, round the back of it, and then down towards Union Island, where we can check out. And there is a shortcut here across the reefs, but we feel too amateurish to risk it without enough knowledge, so we're going to go the long way around. But hey, we get to see another island, so that's great. Good thing is you look like you know what you're doing, Bruno. Here you go, cruise ship fans, the Scenic Eclipse 2, which has wholly eclipsed the old Scenic Eclipse, in my opinion. At the stern I can see they're getting their boats ready, and we saw someone just passed us carrying lots of beach toys, so I guess they're all getting ready to have their tour of the Tobago Cays. Here's a busy little anchorage, the top end of Myro. Approaching Union Island here. Anything screams volcanic, it's this one. So with Union Island there ahead of us slightly to starboard, this is a lovely looking island from a distance. Big white sandy beaches. Was the Palm Island resort, destroyed like so many other things around here by Hurricane Beryl, currently being rebuilt. Happy Island Bar and Restaurant. Here we are on Union Island, where we just checked out. So this is, sad to say, our last island in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And it's still mid-morning, so after this we're going to go south now, down to Carriacou, which will be our first part of Grenada that we get to, and hopefully we'll be there early afternoon, and then that'll probably be it for the day. This is a very beautiful bay. We're now a couple of hours out from Union Islands and are just running along the coast here of Carriacou, and around that way somewhere will be Tyrrell Bay, and we are hoping to pick up a mooring and go and do customs and immigration. So that will be a very customs and immigration kind of day. But then we are basically inside another country down to the south in the distance, which may be hard to spot on this camera, is the bulk of the mainland of Grenada. We're anchored here in Tyrrell Bay on Carriacou, and beautiful sunset no doubt shortly, and we're going to go out and find some food. We've cleared customs and immigration, and the other thing that struck me when we got here was well, we've seen so many signs of how Hurricane Beryl a couple of years ago chewed through this part of the Caribbean, and you can see on every island how people are still working on recovery 2 years later. Can't even imagine what that was like, or how tough it must be to be still rebuilding 2 years in. And in this bay there's also signs of what it's done to some of the boating community, just because there's so many boats in here which we're assuming were storm damage from Beryl as well. Just lots and lots of boats which are in dire need of some kind of repair, and some of which looked a little derelict but actually still have people living on them. And I guess if your boat is your home and you're missing your mast after something like Hurricane Beryl, I guess it is still your home. Can't imagine what it must have been like. Up there is Union Island, where we checked out of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And this little bunch of sand we're on here with the palm trees at the end is the aptly named Sandy Island, which is an absolutely wonderful place. Beautiful swimming, samphires over there somewhere, and the island behind it is Carriacou, where we checked in yesterday. I don't know where Bruno's going. I think he's leaving.
I'm fishing for my friends.
Bruno is feeling sad for the fish that get eaten by the pelican.
Oh, my friends when I was swimming with them earlier on.
Yeah, suddenly out of nowhere, from the sky!
Oh, snatched away!
Look at this though, if it wasn't for the angry birds. What a peaceful spot. If you had to give this creation a name, what would you call it?
Oniony, eggy, scrambled thing.
Good morning. We've just left Sandy Island over by Carriacou. Carriacou's there. And we're heading south again. We are heading south, down towards the main island of Grenada. And we have to Steer carefully here around this volcano, more of that later. And yeah, really nice wind. We've sort of got something like 17 knots of wind, cruising along really nicely. The sun is up. What could you want? Do you fancy some breakfast?
Gone.
Oh no,
Oh no, the granola's gone.
what will we do? Eat the cabin boy. Here we are, heading south, some glorious sailing. A light breeze, some flat seas. Over here to port, there's a couple of islands. One of them's Rond Island, I can't remember which, the other one isn't. And there's some craggy rocks ahead of us. And then behind that you can just about see the island of Grenada itself. And off here to starboard, a couple of miles away, is an undersea volcano called Canouan. And Canouan has a exclusion zone around it, so we're skirting around the edge of the exclusion zone. They don't seem to think that it's going to erupt this afternoon, but they advise people stay around it out of caution anyway. So that's what we're doing. So once we're around the edge of that exclusion zone, we're going to go down the lee side of Grenada and head down towards the bottom end of the island. And here we are, safe in Port Louis Marina at the bottom end of Grenada. And the only event of today is that Bruno will be leaving on a plane. And then tomorrow I will be heading out towards Trinidad by myself.